Before we begin, make sure you're comfortable, lower the lights, set your volume just high enough to hear my voice, but not loud enough to wake you. You don't need to stay alert for this story, you don't need to imagine anything clearly, just listen. Tonight's story isn't loud. It doesn't rush. It doesn't jump out at you. It moves slowly, the way fear does when it has nowhere else to be. This is a true scary horror story told calmly, the kind meant to help you fall asleep, and if you wake up later tonight with a strange feeling, that's normal. Some stories linger longer than others. I used to believe sleep was safe. I believed that once you closed your eyes, the world paused, that whatever waited in the dark respected that boundary. Sleep, to me, felt like a locked door, something nothing could cross. Fear belonged to waking hours. It belonged to bad neighborhoods, wrong turns, and strange sounds that eventually explained themselves. I didn't believe fear could exist quietly. I didn't believe it could sit in the corner and wait. I was wrong. Some places don't announce themselves, some places don't scare you awake, some places only show themselves when you're tired and auto stop questioning what you see. I moved into the apartment because it was cheap, not good deal, cheap, suspicious cheap. The listing barely had photos. No description worth reading, just a phone number and a price that didn't match the neighborhood. When I went to see it, the building looked older than the rest of the street. 4 stories tall, brown brick, narrow windows. No elevator. The hallway smelled faintly of dust and something metallic. The landlord didn't ask many questions. He didn't ask where I worked. He didn't ask how long I planned to stay. He just handed me the keys and said, "People don't usually stay long." He said it casually, like a joke. I smiled. I shouldn't have. The first night was quiet, unnaturally quiet. No traffic noise. No neighbors moving around. No distant sounds from other apartments. It felt like the building was holding its breath. I went to sleep easily. No dreams. No anxiety. Just a deep, heavy kind of rest, until I woke up, not suddenly, not panicked, just awake. And aware that I wasn't alone. It's hard to explain that feeling. There was no sound at first. No movement, just a certainty, like when someone stands behind you and you somehow know without turning around. My room was dark. The clock on my nightstand read 3:02 a.m. I listened, nothing. Then, very faintly, footsteps, slow, careful, above me. That didn't make sense. I was on the top floor. I held my breath. The footsteps stopped. I shifted slightly in bed. They started again, not louder, just closer. I told myself it was the building settling, old pipes, old beams. That's what people always say. I turned onto my side and closed my eyes. The footsteps continued. Slow. Measured. As if whoever, or whatever, was walking was making sure not to wake me. Eventually, I fell asleep, and that was the most unsettling part, because some part of me knew, this wasn't a one-time thing, this was an introduction. The next morning, I told myself it had been nothing, just an old building doing old building things. That's what people say when they don't want to dig too deep. Daylight made everything look normal again, too normal. The hallway outside my apartment was narrow and dim, painted a dull off-white that had yellowed with age. The carpet was thin and worn down the center, like hundreds of people had walked the same path over decades. I noticed something strange. The hallway felt longer, not dramatically, just subtly, like it took a few extra steps to reach the stairwell. I stopped halfway down and turned around. My apartment door looked farther away than it should have. I laughed quietly at myself. Sleep deprivation can do strange things to perception. I went to work and didn't think about it again, not consciously. The second night, I stayed up later than usual. I didn't want to fall asleep too easily. I don't know why, maybe some instinct was already forming. Around midnight, I turned off the lights and laid in bed, listening to the faint hum of the city outside. Sleep came slowly. When I woke again, the clock read 3:02 a.m. exactly the same time as before. That's when I knew it wasn't random. The footsteps started almost immediately, but this time, they weren't above me, they were outside my door, slow steps on carpet. Stopping. Starting. As if someone were pacing. I stared at my bedroom door, my body frozen, then I heard it, a soft dragging sound, like fingers brushing against the wood, not knocking, tracing, learning the shape of the door. That I wanted to scream, that I didn't. Something about the moment felt delicate, like any sudden movement would break some unspoken rule. Eventually, the sound stopped. And just like the night before, I fell asleep. The next day, I noticed the door, halfway down the hallway. A plain wooden door. No apartment number. No handle, just a flat surface painted the same color as the walls. That I stood in front of it for a long time. That I was certain it hadn't been there before. The hallway wasn't wide enough for another unit. That I knocked lightly. The sound felt wrong, muted. Like knocking on something hollow and endless at the same time. That I pressed my ear against it. Nothing. No sound. No air movement, just absence. That night, I dreamed of hallways, endless ones, doors without numbers, doors without handles, and something walking behind me without ever catching up. That I finally spoke to someone about it today, an older man who lived across the hall. That I hadn't noticed him before. That he opened his door just a crack when I knocked. His eyes flicked down the hallway before meeting mine. "You hear it too?" he said, not a question. That I swallowed. "Hear what?" He hesitated, then opened the door wider. "You're new," he said quietly. "So it's starting with footsteps?" My stomach dropped. "You see the door yet?" he asked. That I nodded. He exhaled slowly. "That's when it gets interested." I asked him what he meant. That he shook his head. "Don't talk about it too loud. It listens better at night." Before I could ask anything else, he closed his door, locked it. That I stood there for a long time. The hallway felt longer again. That night, I didn't turn off the lights. That I didn't lay down. That I sat on the edge of my bed and waited. 3:02 a.m. The footsteps came, but this time, they were inside my apartment, slow, careful. Like something learning the layout. That I stared at the bedroom doorway. A shadow stretched across the floor, too thin, too tall. That it didn't enter the room. That it just stood there, watching, waiting for me to sleep, because that's when it could get closer. That I didn't sleep at all that night, and in the morning, the door in the hallway was closer to my apartment than it had been before. I stopped going out after dark, not because I was afraid of the city, but because I was afraid of coming back. The hallway didn't behave the same way at night. During the day, it pretended to be normal, familiar, predictable. At night, it breathed, not literally, but it felt alive in the way a sleeping animal does, still, quiet, aware. That I began to notice rules, unwritten ones. That if I walked too slowly, the footsteps would start behind me. That if I walked too fast, I'd hear them ahead. The only safe pace was steady. Confident. If I knew exactly where I was going. That's when it left me alone. Almost like it respected certainty, almost. The door moved again, not dramatically, just enough that I could tell. Each morning, it was closer, never more than a few feet, always subtle enough that doubt could survive. That I stopped asking neighbors about it. The older man across the hall never answered his door again. His apartment sat dark. Silent. No footsteps. No sounds, just absence. One night, at exactly 3:02 a.m., I heard a sound I hadn't heard before. A knock, from inside my apartment. That I didn't move. Didn't breathe. The knock came again. Soft. Polite. As if whatever stood there had learned manners. Then it spoke, not with my voice this time, but with his. The neighbor, low, tired. "Don't open it," he whispered. That's when I understood. The door wasn't empty. It was hungry. I stayed awake for 3 days straight. Caffeine, cold showers, fear, but the body always collects its debt. I fell asleep sitting upright, lights on, shoes still on my feet. When I woke, I was standing in the hallway. In front of the door. I don't remember walking there. The door now had a handle. It was old, brass, worn smooth by hands that shouldn't have existed. I knew, somehow, that it wouldn't force me. It never had. It waited. That was its power. The handle turned easily, too easily. Inside was another hallway, longer, darker, endless. Doors lined the walls, each one slightly open, and from behind them, breathing, sleeping, waiting. I saw faces I recognized, neighbors, strangers, people who had lived here before me, all standing still, all watching, and at the end of the hallway, something stood that didn't have a shape I could describe. That it wasn't tall or short, that it was present, and it understood me, you noticed, it said without words. Most people didn't. That's why they stayed. That it showed me things, not images, memories, moments of people hesitating in hallways, pausing at doors, waking up at the same time every night. 3:02 a.m. Fear wasn't its goal, attention was. Once you noticed the hallway, once you questioned the door, you became part of the structure. The building wasn't haunted. That it was incomplete, and it needed witnesses to keep existing. That's why it followed me, why it follows anyone who sees too clearly. You can leave, it told me, but you'll carry the door with you. I woke up in my bed, morning light, silence, the hallway was normal again, the door was gone. That I moved out a week later, different city, different building, different life, but sometimes, when I walk down a hallway late at night, I feel it stretch, just a little, and when I wake up suddenly, at exactly 3:02 a.m., I don't listen for footsteps anymore. That I listen for something else. A door handle turning very slowly, because once you notice the trail, the hallway, the door, it doesn't disappear. That it just waits for you to look again.